From the Council on Foreign Relations, what is the liberal world order? I'll play only a little bit of their opening video, but the gist of it is, after World War II, a group of powerful individuals got together and said, we are going to create a global system of governance through finance.
Right.
Because war is bad or whatever the excuses were. They were like, we don't want wars to start, so we'll control it.
Natural disasters, to deadly diseases, to wars. The world can be a turbulent, even chaotic place. But around 75 years ago, a new system was imagined to temper this turbulence and improve the lives of many. It is called the liberal world order. It is a liberal system in the sense that it operates on rules that are, in theory, applied to each country equally, and that it encourages each country to be democratic and to open its economy to the rest of the world. It is a global system in that every country around the world is encouraged to join and follow those rules, even if some do not. And it is a system that promotes order in that most countries that buy into it respect the borders of other countries.
And what happens if you disagree with this liberal economic order? We go in and we stage a coup against your leader or your political system. We remove those in power, or the United States will outright assassinate a world leader who defies the liberal economic order. And this is, once again, the Council on Foreign Relations website. This is not some crackpot conspiracy website. It's quite literally the CFR telling you outright 75 years ago they created the liberal world order. Because when George H.W. Bush said, there was a liberal world order, but now we can imagine a new world order. For 30 years, they said it was a conspiracy theory to believe powerful interests wanted a new world order.
Yeah. Well, frankly, it happened before the end of World War II, because in 1944, Hitler and his entire crew, what they called at the time internationalists, that we now call globalists, and the international bankers all got together and started funneling money through Switzerland into Argentina, into America, setting up a lot of stuff. We also had at the same exact time, shortly after Operation Paperclip, then we had people from our military going and getting people that were sentenced to death in Nuremberg and bringing them to the Jet Propulsion Lab in America. So a lot of things were happening right after. And frankly, I look right now, and it's hard to know some of this history, especially when it comes to Alan Dulles, who was from OSS, was in Switzerland all this time. The guy that was taking the money from the Nazi bank in Switzerland at the Bank of International Settlements happened to be an American banker, Kittredge, and they were planning for the Fourth Reich to be a financial Reich, which goes along with that. So if you look at all of this, right now, the Bank of International Settlements is opaque. Nobody knows what's there. It wasn't just all the money that they looted and stole and everything from Germany, but it was also the money they were making. Remember, they were working the people in the camps to death, creating steel and armaments and all this stuff. But it was also, they were looting all the people in Lithuania, in Czechoslovakia, in Paris, and all that money was going into, apparently, Switzerland. And if that was happening, this Bank of International Settlements has all the same immunity as the Vatican. Nobody's ever looked into it. Nobody can tell you how much money's there. And yet our Federal Reserve and all 12 of our governors from the Federal Reserve go to the Bank of International Settlements in Switzerland every couple months for global financial order. Okay, and then you find the IMF, the World Bank, World Trade Organization. Who do they work for? And then when we're seeing all these Doge money going out all over the world, it's going to the World Bank. So what I believe at this point is Alan Dulles and the CIA, I believe, have been basically running a situation that is connected to those banks rather than the CIA being what we think they are. It's more what you were saying, which is making sure that the whole world is working along these lines. Because if you look at the history of Dulles and then him coming to America from Switzerland and everything, then it's very hard to separate that period of time post-World War II, probably from 44 to 53, this whole international financial system, including the biggest laundering operation, which I believe to be the UN, all came to be. It did not exist before this, and I think that their financial system was breaking, and the Great Reset really, and whether the pandemic was part of it or not, was because they need to reset the financial system to keep it controlled. And I mean, that's just my theory right now.
And it's all heavily invested in
Trillions of
arms and munitions and war. I mean, war's their biggest money maker on earth.
Yeah.
Because war covers a whole bunch of things like trafficking, slavery.
Look at Libya. It's the biggest slave trade in the whole world right now.
So?
Yeah, I believe it is. There's been no help there. But you have to understand that German Marshall Fund we were all lied to about. Like, we put trillions of dollars into rebuilding Europe. You know what we build? The EU and the euro. That's what we built, a global European currency. And that goes back to Zig Brzezinski, who was all, with Carter, but then Obama brought back in Zig Brzezinski. He's a Trilateral Commission, Council of Foreign Relations, Chatham House guy who believes in a unified Europe where Russia does not exist.
Right.
So, I mean, that was the Third Reich's goal, wasn't it?
Yes.
So, what's going on right now?
Well, Switzerland's making its big move.
And the Dutch fell, and the Dutch banking system was very involved in that. So this is more about, I think, money. Just like I think the Epstein case is more about the international banking cartel.
It is that. I think that's why they don't release the Epstein List, is because all the bankers are on it.
Yeah, I think that the Epstein List would, if they were to release all that evidence, it's going to cause damage to the liberal economic order.
Yeah. I mean, what? Chase had to settle with the victims for $365 million, and there's no people arrested? Well, why would Chase settle with the victims of Epstein for that kind of money if there was nobody involved? And now Dershowitz is asking for a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell today, and it's like, wait. I want to know if she was charged with it's weird that Comey's daughter is the one that's doing all of this, but if she was charged with sex trafficking, then obviously they know that there were Johns, there were people that were doing those transactions. Why don't they just follow the white collar crime that's so obvious?
Well, bingo. I remember the HSBC bank hack way back in 2007, I think it was. All the stuff that was exposed in that is the same stuff that they hid away and came out again with Epstein. It was all, the banks are, they invest in criminal activity in it and they get a big payback on it and then they launder it. I mean, it's all just not good. I was thinking that Trump was breaking down the Federal Reserve and that he had a long-term plan to do it. And that's what a lot of us think.
Nobody wants to throw the One Ring into the fires of Mount Doom.
No. But the problem is that we have been severely looted. For me, the thing that upsets me the most is that all of our taxpayer dollars basically have gone to wreaking havoc all over the world in the name of the American people without us even knowing it, while our country is not being taken care of basically at all. So, when I say that, I don't know what the people can do, but I do believe that the government is not going to solve our problems. And I don't know where that leads. And I felt the same way. I was hoping that he was going to pull out of the UN and NATO. NATO is not a defensive force. It is the military of the EU, and as far as I can see, or the international banking class.
Yeah, it is. What's it called? Octagon.
Oh, you talk about, right. That's the and all our lives we were told Switzerland was neutral. And just recently, I don't know if you guys saw this, Chuck Grassley asked Milei in Argentina for all the records of Credit Suisse sending money through Argentina when Francis happened to be there into America, into our schools and universities and government and everywhere. There's just a whole bunch of lies post World War II that we've grown up believing. And we've allowed the deception over and over, the deception of JFK.
Do you guys think that Donald Trump is going to perpetuate this system?
Well, a lot of people think that Trump is going to institute, of course, it's been discredited 1,000 times, but people still think that he's going to, bring a gold back currency and
gold standard,
but that goes into Nasara and all that stuff, and everybody still talks about that, which is kind of a whole new currency and a whole new economic based. It takes too long.
I think Trump.
What do you think about that? What do you think of
Nasara? Not much. I haven't looked into that in a long time. There was a lot of conversation about all that stuff a few years ago.
A million years ago.
Yeah, like 7 years ago or something.
Yeah, no, I think Trump wants to maintain the petrodollar.
I don't think that it's possible to pull out of this international banking overhaul without I mean, that's what I think that all these wars are about. I really do. I think that they're funding all of it on both sides. I don't think they care at all about, and I'm talking about the people that financially invest, because the head banker of the Nazis went to jail from Nuremberg, and then he said they don't put bankers to death. Will be out in 12 years, and went right back to the Bank of International Settlements. So, for me, the American people could maybe find common ground with where the hell is our money gone, and what is it gone towards? And, they call it isolationism for each country to actually say, you know what, we want to close things down and figure out, how to rebuild and our own country first. And
well, it's when the people recognize that the public money belongs to the public, but it's the levels of brainwashing and mind control that keep that so far out of people's mind that they don't even, it doesn't even occur to them that our tax money is supposed to go to the communities who pay the tax.
right.
But the way modern monetary theory works is, or the modern monetary system, taxes aren't actually being taken from you to spend on things. They spend whatever they want, racking up debt, and then pull your money out of the system in an effort to control for inflation. So the taxes you pay are largely just about controlling for inflation because they add the money to the market no matter what.
Yeah. Yep.
So what does that mean? It means your bank account, when you put money in the account hoping to save money, you can't. And this was really bad in the years preceding COVID because it was funny that people were posting messages about how there was one viral post where a guy said he was saving up to buy, I think it was like a PlayStation. And so he was like, it's going to take me 3 months based on my budget. 3 months went by and the price went up and he was like, I can't afford it. He's like, I don't even know because of inflation. For me, I was on Amazon and I was going to buy a tablet because we needed a tablet for something here in the office. Put it into the cart. Something happened where I forgot about it. And then literally I think it was like the next day or whatever, or a few days later, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I opened up Amazon. It said price change. The tablet had gone up in price. Just that quickly. It was like by $50 or something. Mm-hmm. That's what happens when you have mass spending like we saw during COVID. That's the concern about the deficit. Basically, the government is borrowing against all of the buying power of the American people. But the problem is for the American people, they don't see it.
No.
You go to the average person and they'll be like, what are you talking about? I have $50 in my pocket right now. And you'll be like, right, but $50 can buy you, say, one meal at a restaurant. A week from now, you won't be able to because of inflation. And they'll be like, what are you talking about? They won't get it. They don't care.
Well, I think there's a lot of apathy there. I think that life is just good enough for the average person where you're not going to see radical revolution or change from people as long as they have food on their table, however minimally they can afford it. As long as they have a place to live, you're not going to see any type of really input from the average everyday person because they're just living their lives.
Let's jump to this.
Yeah, but if it all adds up, if ever everybody was to put the pieces together, so we saw how many different ways we were getting abused, that might do something, but that never happens.
I don't have faith that the average everyday person's actually paying that close attention.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.